The liability question is one we get asked a lot about. And I would say this to you. There's a definite exposure and risk for anything you do in the delivery space, right? And it doesn't necessarily tie to just medical courier. It doesn't matter if you're just delivering packages, retail goods, whatever it is. And that liability, for the most part, rests in the auto side of things, right? Because the most frequent claims we see besides cargo claims are an accident, right? A driver, whether it's a fleet driver in a fleet vehicle or it's an independent contractor who's working for a courier service, gets into an accident, those auto losses are claims that we see the most of. In Postmates, DoorDash, Uber Eats, Uber, Lyft, that world had far less claims activity, right? And we often say it's been the Uberization of hired and non-owned auto, because what those companies did was really highlight the independent contractor model, and that people can be out there seemingly running errands or doing nothing in their vehicles that we know about, when in reality they're conducting business.
Right.
And so we've seen there's a more frequent nature of those losses now that come to the insurance market, and they are settling or getting paid out at higher values than ever before. So now you have a frequency and a severity issue, right? Not a great mix in my space to have that going on. That's generally what leads to the rates climbing year after year after year,
Sure.
which is what we've seen. So our counsel to folks is always, anything less than $1 million is crazy low. You want to have at least $1 million, right? After that, it becomes a factor of what can you afford, what helps you sleep at night, and what are your customers demand from you with contract language. And I think, part of the struggle is, at a time when the exposure has never been greater, the cost to cover the exposure have also never been greater. And the margins in the space are still the margins in the space. They're not gigantic by any stretch, right? So you have folks that are trying to weigh, hey, we want to have a profitable business. We want to make money, but how do we protect what we're building along the way? So, I think the baseline on that is $1 million, right? $1 million of auto liability coverage, which on the commercial side, Ken, is standard. $1 million of general liability, which is really a standard there too. And then if you go to the professional errors and emissions insurance, that's usually $1 million policy. You can buy $500,000, and I'd say that's better than nothing, right? So I think there's those baselines.